Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring you a quick guide on the best cards of the TCG that came out on the game 2 days since you saw this, because I'm recording this on Thursday. So 2 days there we are in on this new game mode on the game, and I'm actually really invested on it. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I think I learned a lot these 2 days. And also, since you might know, if you follow me on Twitter or Twitch, that I play a lot of card games like Magic, Legends of Runeterra and Hearthstone. So this type of games, I really like it a lot, and I think my huge knowledge on this type of games can be really great for you. So let's get started with the cards that I think are the most OP in no particular order for this game mode. Let's go. So the first card that I want to talk about is Paimon. Paimon is super strong. It gives you 2 Omni-Element dices, which is kind of insane, because you have to think that you need dices to win the game. So if you get more dices, that makes the card even better. So you can do more, for example, more normal attacks with Joy-Milla. I got 2 decks that I will show you really quick, so in case you don't know what decks to build and what are the best type of decks you can build. But Paimon is super great. It gives you a lot of dices that are quite insane, because you get more rampage and can do more actions in one turn. So that's the first card that I wanted to talk about. For the second card, Liben is super strong. He might actually not seem to you really strong, but it's a cost 0 card, so you can pull it for free, and every time the turn ends, you get all the dices and pass it on this card. But remember that we only give 1 of each type to Liben. But the good thing comes later, that if you get 3 stacks of this card, you will, on the next drawing phase, you will draw 2 cards more, and you will get 2 more dices of Omni-Element, which is super insane, because you are getting 2 cards for free and 2 Omni-Element dices, which is super insane. As you can see, for example, Strategize, for 1 you draw 2, and for the Paimon that we saw, you pay 3 and you get 2 Omni-Element. Well, in 2 turns you get double, but as you can see, this card is kind of insane, and you don't have to do nothing. You only have to stack it, and later in some point it will give you more Omni-Element dices and also more drawing cards, which is super great, because on most of card games, drawing is the most insane strategy to win games. In this type of game on the Genshin Impact, TSG is not super necessary, but it can be super great, to be fair. The third card I want to talk about, that I told you on the last one, is Strategize. Strategize is for 1 cost, you draw 2 cards. This card is good. It's not super insane, but it's good. It can be really good. If you need to draw cards, this card is super great. I highly recommend having 2 copies of it, because it's really great. But it's not like super game changing, but I think it's pretty neat. Okay, I haven't lost yet, which I thought on the first time that this one won't be that great, but if you play PvP, this card becomes a monster, because this card is like a combat card that you use when they defeat you a character, for example, and it gives you 1 dice for free and 1 energy for free, which means that probably you can ult with another character with this card. So I think it's kind of insane. Like, for example, think that you have 1 point on Joy-Milla and they kill you, I don't know, Bennett. You play this and Joy-Milla gets the other energy and another Omni-Element, and you can maybe sweep and kill them all in really low period of time. So this is super insane card. I highly recommend having at least 1 copy if you want to play PvP. Even 2 copies is great, but I think at least 1 copy is always necessary, even if it's PvP or PvE, because if they kill you one of your heroes, you will be in a huge disadvantage, and this card can't make you come back to the game. Okay, another card that seems like it's not super good, but I thought this card was insane since the beginning, and I started playing it a lot, is Changing Shifts. Changing Shifts, what's made is that the next action that you will switch a character, you spend 1 less elemental dice, which makes, if you do a normal swap, you get it for free. And this is super great, because you are paying 0 for changing characters, and also you're getting the tempo of the game. So this card, I think at least one copy you have to get into the deck, and it can be super decent to play it. Okay, another super great card. If you play Collei or Fischl, for example, they do summons, and the summons stay on the field for a certain time. But this thing, what does is you pay 1 and you grant it +1 usage on the card, which means that when you summon us, it will extend the duration by 1 turn, which is 1 more turn that is hitting the opponent and making elemental reactions, which it might not be that great on your mind, but test it with Fischl and or Sucrose Ultimate, or even the Ultimate of Collei. I use it a lot on the Ultimate of Collei because it does 2 damage from Dendro, and extending that to 3 turns instead of 2, it's super insane because you are doing 6 damage for free. So that's it on this card. Okay, Send Off. I know you might think that this is not good, but thinking on the last team that I told you, that is Fischl with Collei, that it summons a lot of things, having 1 copy of Send Off or 2 copies, I think 1 copy is enough, but we'll get in that on the guide of teams and things like that. Okay, so don't worry. But the Send Off, you destroy 1 summon, which is super insane. This card is more a tech card. If the enemy doesn't play summons, this card is really bad, but you can always use it to generate 1 dice, which is decent. But for me, this card is really great. If you have problems dealing with Fischls or Sucroses or even the Oceanid that makes a lot of enemies, that makes a lot of summons, this card can be super great. Even the Xiao card can be decent, but I don't think the Xiao card is that great because it costs 4 of dices and I don't really like it. But Send Off, I like it so much. Another card that I want to talk about is Iron Tongue and Tian. He's just super insane character. What makes it is that when you spawn it, it gives you 1 energy to the active character Prioritize, if it doesn't have the maximum energy, of course, but it has 2 usage, so you are generating for 2 mana, 2 energies on your characters, which means the ultimate is faster. So if the ultimate is faster, you will be making a lot more damage. So this card is super great. I recommend having 2 copies of this, like in the Paimon. It's super insane, this card. I can't really say how many games it saved me from not having the ultimate and have it, and it's super insane. The Parametric Transformer I think is decent, okay? But the only thing that you have to come in mind when you play this is that your enemies and you can put counters on this. So when it gets to 3 counters of elemental damage, it will give you 3 dices. But you have to make it count. That is the only problem that I see with this card. It's super great because it gives you 3 dices, obviously. But the only counter that it has is that your enemy can play like 2 elemental reactions and you only play 1 and pass turn, and then your opponent have 2 elemental reactions and you lose all the dices. So you have to be careful on this type of things, but it's super decent, to be fair. And let's get to the best card now. Okay, so for me, this is the best card in the entire game right now, I have to say right now. Minty Meat Rolls makes you super strong, and actually with the deck of Joymilla that I made is super strong because your normal attacks cost 1 less of an allied element, and imagine if you have equipped the artifact of Pyro, you are doing elemental normal attacks for 1, and it's almost free. You make 1 elemental shot, another, and this card is insane. And the thing that it costs 2 only your normal attacks and you can infuse them is super insane. You don't know how good this card is. Maybe when I come back from my travel, because I'm going to travel this Sunday, but I come back on Wednesday. Maybe I try to do a guide on the Joy Media team that I made, or on the other team, depends on what you choose, because I will be making a poll, don't worry. But this card is super great. In every team you can play this, in every situation. If you can play this, play it please, it's super strong. I recommend 2 pieces of it, it's super great. And finally I want to talk about the Lotus Flower Crisp. It's decent, it's a decent food, but I wanted to talk about at least 2 foods. For Lotus Flower Crisp, I think the main thing here is that you want to take less damage, so consuming this card is really great if you think the enemy is going to do a huge attack, or you can watch the intents of the enemy on when you are playing against the computer. So if you do this Lotus Flower Crisp, and it will save you more than one time, and your units won't die. So it's pretty important, because normally there are a lot of challenges that require you to only die 1 unit as most, so I highly recommend playing Lotus Flower Crisp. Finally, this is Armor 2 decks. My favorite decks is a Joymilla Hyper Carrier team and a Fast Aggravate team with these characters. If you want me to make a guide on it, I can show you here, in case you want to play any of the teams you had here, if you want to copy them. Okay, and this one here, they're pretty much same build with the cards that I recommended you on the video. But if you want a more in-depth guide on how to play and how to play this type of decks, the Fast, this is one of the best decks in the entire game, and I think this deck can be super great, the Joymilla Carry. So if you want to know how to play it, leave a like, leave me a comment please, because I want to know if you really like it. And see you guys next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.